Right. So Charlotte is a certified hypnotherapist specializing in subconscious reprogramming, integrates RTT, NLP, breathwork, and RES method with Kriya Yoga. I really hope you are going to explain what these things are during the workshop. She has not only guided nearly 200 individuals through transformative healing journeys, but also developed Malaya soul therapy, a technique to access the body's emotions before addressing the subconscious. Very fascinated by this topic. We already had a podcast with Charlotte before, and every single time when we have any kind of interaction whatsoever, even in just a very casual setting, it like blows my mind every single time. You know, she just drops comments here and there, and I'm like, hold that thought. I need to write this down because I do that. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to get a lot out of this workshop. I'm not going to take more of your time. I'm going to hand it over to you. So yeah, please go ahead, share your screen, and it's your turn.
All right, guys, so I'm going to share my screen. How to share again? Oh my God. There you go. All right, so hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your time, for coming here. And I know the topic interests you about romantic relationships. So some of you might have patterns of toxic relationships. Some of you might have relationships you always been cheated, you always been betrayed, or just the toxic patterns of relationship as well, and how your subconscious is driving your romantic relationship, or also how your subconscious is choosing your partner. Because sometimes we choose a partner that's familiar for us, not what's right for us. So this is going to be an interesting topic for me and for everyone. So if you have any questions, just drop a questions in Luma, and then Adam will pass the microphone, and also on the group chat as well.
Just drop it on Zoom. That's going to be easier, but also...
Okay. Is that Yanina?
Carry on.
Can everyone hear me, guys, online?
Yes.
Amazing. Perfect. All right, then, but before we start, I'm going to have a little bit of activity for now, a little bit of activity of how your mind works. You know, it's about imagination activity. And like the more you imagine things, the more you feel it, the more you smell, the more you taste it, even just imagining it, the better. You know, it's not about, it's just a visualization, but with also the smell, the feeling, the tasting, and I call it like a lemon visualization, because everyone can relate lemon. Everyone tasted lemon, right? Everyone have tasted the lemon? Is there any lemon in your country or not? All right then, so here's what we can do is, of course, I want everyone to feel relaxed as well. I'm not going to hypnotize you yet. No one's going to be hypnotized today. I'm just going to talk about subconscious and how it works and explain to it in the simple as possible, as much as I can. Okay? So, all right. So for online people and for the physical people that I can touch here, here's what we can do is I want you to take a deep breath in with me. So, okay. Let's do it together. Take a deep breath in with me. And breathe out with a sigh. One more time. Take another deep breath in with me. And breathe out with a sigh. Make a sound one last time. Take another deep breath in. And breathe out with a sigh. And now I want you to all guys close your eyes. And while your eyes is closed, I want you to put your right hand in front of you. And then in front of you, I want you to imagine that there's a lemon in front of you. A sliced lemon. And I want you to imagine as much as you can the color of it, the texture of it. And I just want you to imagine that. It's a lemon. You've seen a lemon, you described the color. And I want you to squeeze the lemon a little bit. and you can smell that sour feeling of the lemon. And imagine it and smell it as much as you can. And after that, I want you to smell it. Be there. Imagine it. And while you're smelling it, I want you to put your right hand with that lemon, and I want you to put it in your mouth. Put it in your mouth, and then now you can taste the sour feeling of the lemon. And you are salivating right now, and you just can taste it. Oh, just so sour and everything. All right then. All right, you can open your eyes for now because your faces looks your faces looks weird now. So how was it for you? Just to imagine the lemon. Yeah, it's sour. What's the feeling of it? Did you smell it?
Yeah, and I can feel it as well. It's like sour in my tongue now.
Oh wow! Were you salivating?
Yeah.
Salivating, yeah. So thank you. And what else? Did you imagine the color of it?
Yes.
That's perfect. This is the best group. You're good in imagination. All right then. So the next is let's see. What's your name?
Joella.
Joella. Joella, what's your favorite toy when you're young?
My favorite
Like
toy.
between 5 to 10.
It was a rabbit.
A rabbit?
A rabbit?
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you play it?
It was just like a fluffy rabbit, and
Okay.
I just took it everywhere. And yeah, that was my favorite toy.
So is there any memory that you can remember when you're playing it? Maybe close your eyes. Close your eyes, and where do you play it? How does it feel when you're playing it?
So mostly I just put it everywhere on my bike. I took it in my bed, and it always has to be with me. So I didn't actually play it really with it. It was just with me, and I needed for sleep. Really long
Okay.
time.
Yeah, that's good. It makes you company, so it makes you feel safe
Yeah,
when you are
safe.
with your...
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
you.
So, yes, for you, that's why I started with this kind of activity because, like, as you've said, visualization and subconscious mind sometimes doesn't know what's real and not. So even if you're just imagining the lemon, your physical body have a reaction to it. So that's the power of the subconscious. Hi, Bruno. All right, then. So before I'm going to start talking about conscious mind, subconscious mind, and emotions, of course, I want to introduce myself. Who am I to talk about this? So I am Charlotte Alcala. I am certified hypnotherapist in International Association of Counselors and Therapists. Also, I am a certified therapist of rapid transformational therapy. If you heard about Marisa Peer, one of the best hypnotherapists in Mind Valley. So that's where I get my certificate too. And also reprogramming emotional subconscious because my method is more into emotions and body rather than going straight to your mind or to your subconscious. Because I want to reset the mind and the body at the same time. In order for you to truly disconnect that neural pathways connected to the trauma or connected to that patterns. And also solution-focused therapy is just only about training your brain on how to be positive. Because it's very challenging for us to stay positive in this beautiful life. And also, I have a degree of psychology in Cebu, in the Philippines, and certified Kriya Yoga teacher. The reason why I've done a Kriya Yoga teacher because it's all about the tapping, because our body is very good in keeping the score of the emotions. And that's why most of the people have liver cancer or kidney cancer, or why you have dandruff or skin diseases, and everything just explains the body and the science of it in the spiritual way and also in the scientific way. So it's good to connect both about the emotions and the scientific way because a lot of us doesn't want to believe if we don't have a reasoning, if there's no logic. So that's why I also studied Kriya as well. It's more about the tapping and physically like emotions in the body. And that's why I created the mind, body, soul therapy because my technique is more about how do you feel when you're angry? How do you feel when you feel sad? Like how do you feel when you are disappointed? Like everything you feel it on your body, and that's what makes it reality because you have feelings. And then once you feel it in your body, your brain cannot say like, hey, it didn't happen. No, it happened because I feel it in my body. Because sometimes when we go straight to the brain, our brain have a logical mind. It creates a lot of excuses of like, nope, that's not true. But then when the body says, yes, it's true because I felt it. So yeah, that's it. So my expertise is addressing emotional wounds and traumas and to empower individuals to lead a fulfilling lives. Because all of us have dreams. We have a $1 million dreams, but we couldn't even start doing it because we're too scared to do it. Because we don't feel enough, we don't feel worthy to do it, we don't feel confident to do it, and there's so much limiting beliefs that stop us from being on the dreams that we wanted to have. And we deserve to be happy as well. All right then, so yeah, any violent reactions? All right, so let's talk about conscious mind. So what is conscious mind? You being here is your conscious choice that to be here. You listening to me is a conscious choice. You, when you are, this is the logical mind, this is the reasoning mind, or this is also like a decision making. That's why it will take us a while to decide. Like we don't even know what we want, and we don't even know what we don't want. And it's the subconscious, it's the conscious mind also doing the decision making, but sometimes the subconscious mind is the one doing like, nope, let's not gonna do it. But let's talk about conscious mind first. So this is the one who is doing the planning. That's why it takes a while to plan, because you are consciously doing it. And also communication, language, organization, skills, and for example, it's like, who is the first time who drives here a motorbike? It's their first time to drive a motorbike here in Bali. So, okay.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Good. So, how was it when you were? How did you learn it? Like.
By doing. Yeah, I didn't have any lessons or anything.
And it just happens. You just learn it.
Yeah, but obviously when I first started, I had to like focus more, and then now it's automatic.
That's perfect. That's good. So your conscious mind is the one doing the learning. The conscious mind is like, okay, I'm gonna have the accelerator. This is the brake. I'm gonna have the stand, or even the highway. Like me, in the Philippines, we drive right, but here it's left. So I also need to learn consciously, because if I'm gonna let my subconscious drive, I'm always gonna be in the right side and I'm gonna have an accident, which I did. Because okay, oh no, I'm on the left side. I'm back in Bali now. So that's my conscious mind. I need to consciously learn it in order for me to put it in my subconscious. So, and also it's only 40 pieces of information per second. So just like you guys, you are consciously learning right now. And also if ever you have questions, write it down, because sometimes it doesn't make sense for now because this is new information, but later on you'll be like, oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah. You will have the aha feeling. So if ever you have some confusions or whatever it is, just write it down. All right, so now let's move on to the subconscious mind. It only functions in the now or present. There's no such thing as past and future with a subconscious mind. And that's the reason why, like, who have you here have like a trauma of like an accident, or maybe motorbike accident, or you? How does it feel when, after the accident? Was it a car or?
It was with a bike.
With a bike.
It happened like 3 years ago, but not here. But that's the reason why I don't take anyone on my bike here, because I don't want to be responsible for the person on the back of my bike.
Okay. What happened? Like, just a quick story. Like.
The quick story is my friends all have a bike that goes up to like 80 kilometers an hour, and mine was only like 35, and they were driving ahead, and I thought they were going straight ahead, but they're going right, and my brake broke.
Oh.
And I wanted to go to the right, and I hit my head on the concrete, and then I was out for like a few minutes. Yeah.
And then how does it make you feel to drive a bike now?
I'm fine with it. I just don't want to be responsible for someone else to have that trauma or to, that something happens like that.
Okay. All right then. So yeah. So look, like for that one, like it happened 2 years ago, and he can even clearly remember it, and also like the feelings of like, is it in your head, right?
Yeah.
You got like a cushion in your head or something like that. So, but then for her, it's like she doesn't want to be responsible when someone is like driving at the back of her, and on that sense, it's like nope. Even if someone's gonna try to ride at the back of her bike, she will remember what happened like few years ago. Even if she's safe, even if she's in Bali, even if like no matter, there's no such thing as place and space and time for the subconscious mind. Once a traumatic event happened, it doesn't matter, it just doesn't recognize any place, but it always recognizes the feeling. And yeah, that's why you have the emotions and the feelings, and that's why it's so important to work on the physical body and trauma and the brain as well at the same time. All right, so it is illogical. It cannot judge either real or virtual. So that's why I have the exercise a while ago that, yeah, it's illogical. It's just, there's no lemon in front of you, but then you are salivating. I cannot pronounce that. Can you help me with that? Salivating, thank you.
Don't think about it, just say it.
Yeah. All right, so see, you can feel it. It doesn't make sense. It's like you don't have the lemon in front of you, but your body is reacting to it because it doesn't know what's real or virtual. So imagine where you're thinking negatively. It's real for your brain. It's real for your brain basically. If you're always thinking negatively, then it's happening, and you are on that constant loop. So it processes 11 million pieces of information per second. The conscious mind is only 40 pieces per second. It's very slow. And the subconscious is 11 million, and that's why I asked her, what's your favorite toy when she was 5 years old, and she was able to get it right away. She was able to access that information right away. Even our computer, when we search something in our computer, it will take us like what? 1 minute or 2 minutes? But with her, she was able to remember it that fast. Like what's the feeling when she have it? Like how did she play with it? What's even the color of the rabbit? And that's how fast the subconscious mind is. So we can access everything through the subconscious mind. The only the thing that she was able to access that because I trigger her. Like I triggered the words of like, what is your? You cannot easily remember like when someone doesn't want to ask. And you will only remember it when there is the trigger. So the trigger is my words. That's why words is so important, because it can access a lot of amazing, beautiful ideas and darkness and traumatic event as well. So the average person has over 60,000 thoughts per day. Imagine you have 60,000 thoughts per day. And it was, according to Dr. Fred Luskin at Stanford University, they actually put it in the laboratory. So they put like a lot of machines in the head of the person, and they were able to acknowledge the lights on the brain, and that's why they were able to get the 60,000 thoughts per day. So imagine if like 95% of it are negative. 95% of negative, like 50,000 thoughts of negative thoughts per day. And that's why you cannot blame someone why they're still on the negative cycle. And because as much as they want to get out from it, it's just not that easy. So it's also responsible for all the things that we do, like for example, the motorbike, driving. It's the autopilot. As you've said, it just becomes autopilot. Because consciously he is learning it, and through repetitions it becomes the subconscious. And that's why we can drive and can talk at the same time when we are driving a car. And that's why it's so important when you are driving a motorbike and you're listening to music, your subconscious mind is taking over and you are very receptive of anything that you can hear. So once you're driving in a motorbike, that's one way of reprogramming, that's one way of reprogramming your subconscious as well when you're driving, because the subconscious mind is taking over and it's very receptive, very suggestible. And once you're listening to negative music, like like shitty music or whatever, like it depends on the lyrics as well. Doesn't matter what kind of any music, but the lyrics to it. That's the dangerous part, because the subconscious mind doesn't know doesn't know the virtual and the reality. So once it's just absorbing all the words from the music. So when you are driving, put some good music, love music, happy music, not just like, oh, that's the booty part and everything, you know. So also it records everything, even from 0 to until now. So imagine how many terabytes or whatever gigabytes or bytes it is that our mind is capable of. And you can remember it if there is a specific trigger. And that's why with her, she was 5-year-old and she was able to access that. It records everything even when you're sleeping. And that's why, like even when you're sleeping, you can still hear, you can smell, even if you're sleeping, you can smell, there's a gas. Or like with women, we can like, oh, there's someone at the house. Like, no, there's no one at the house. But you feel it, that there's someone at the house. Because our subconscious mind is the one taking over the breathing, the blood circulation, and it's just the automatic things in us. And it controls 95% of our lives. 95% of our lives, especially our decision making. So yes, and that's why most of the people are still doing the same thing. They're still doing the same mistakes, and they don't even know why. It's just like, have you changed something? Nope. Okay. They're still gonna do it. The same patterns, the same decisions, the same demon, but different person. That's why there's a toxic relationship, and it's a patterns, because you're attracting the same personality, the same familiarity, and you expect your relationship to change. How could you change if you're still choosing the same personality, even if it's different person? So that's why if you don't heal what you attract to them, you will attract the same demon but different person. So yes, amen. So we develop it between 0 to 7. So which is, so imagine that we develop 0 to 7 as soon as we are alive or we were born. Imagine yourself that you are in a newborn section of the hospital. And every newborn section, they have a keyboard. Because we are empty, we don't know anything. And then those keyboard is our parents putting their subconscious beliefs, morals, attitudes, the patterns of relationship, they're putting it on us, on our belly. So whatever our parents is giving us, we are also recreating that, reliving that as well. So whatever, it's just imagine like a baby, like an empty, and it's a programming, and you just put everything. The keyboard is being handled, or the keyboard is, the owner of the keyboard is your parents, your society, your friends, your environment, the direct environment. So whatever you absorb from 0 to 7, that's the foundation of your subconscious mind, which is the 95% decisions of your lives. Oh yeah. Does it make sense? Yes, so that's why also the subconscious mind learn by repetition. There's no such thing as bad and good, because between 0 to 7, we don't have reasoning mind yet, or we don't have the conscious mind yet. So whatever we absorb between 0 to 7, we believe it's true. And that's why we believe in Santa Claus. We believe in monsters. We believe in ghosts. And who said that to us? Our parents. Who said it to us? Our TV. No? Consciously, even consciously, you know that it's not real. But even when you walk in the dark, you just go, oh, there's ghosts. You still have that belief in you. Even if the reason why will tell, no, that's not true, because you're already an adult. But then the subconscious mind believes it when you are 0 to 7. And we love stories. And our parents love to tell us monster stories. And even Santa. Like, how old are you when you figure out that the Santa is not real? And it breaks your heart. What? How old are you?
What?
Oh, what? Oh!
He's not real.
Never.
You never believe in Santa.
No, I told everyone in the kindergarten it doesn't exist, and they don't.
You ruined their dreams.
I know.
Yeah, you are that person.
I am.
All right then. So, Yeah, for this one, I actually have a video of like, why is it the video is here? Yeah, no, I'll because I have this. Can everyone see the screen? No. Yeah. Okay. I have this video. I'm not allowed to put not allowed, not really not allowed, but it's just not possible to put an audio. And so there's a subtitle. So just take a look at it and how I do my hypnotherapy. I mean, yeah, just watch it for now. I'll listen. All right then. Right. Thank you so much for watching. So for that one, the client issue is she's so scared to charge clients. She's so scared to receive money. She have that belief. She have that belief of like, no, I cannot charge clients. It's just, it gives her like a lot of anxious feeling. It gives her like, yeah, just that feeling of like, we have that. For me, I have that. It scares the shit out of me when I charge clients. Not because my services is not good. I used to have that. Not because my service is not good, but because I have that belief that money is bad, is scary, or rich people are bad, or rich people are greedy. So that what happened to my clients as well. So through hypnotherapy, we can access that belief of where it started. And as simple as that, consciously, it doesn't make sense for us because it was like 6-year-old and she just stole $2 and it got yelled at and screamed at and she just got beaten up just because of that. But the subconscious mind kind of anchor that happened about the money. She anchored it with like it's bad and scary. And so that's why it's important when you have like trauma or patterns that you want to break, it's good it's good to know. That's it. It's just good to know where it started and how it happened because we need to have reason. We need to have logic. Sometimes when people says, oh, just let it go. It's going to be okay. But how? I can't let go. If it's that easy, everyone with us will be like a love and light people. But we're not. We are people. So next is the emotions. I want to talk about emotions. So we already talked about his conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the emotions as well, because emotions is anchored in our body. So emotions are reactions that human beings experience in response to events or situations. So emotions is like when something happens, when someone yelled at you, you have the emotions of anger, and that's why you can feel it in your body, and that's what makes it real. So sadness, anger, disgust, shame, happiness, or fear. And because we can, like, if you can imagine, who was here, like, you. You, what's your name?
Jack.
Jack. Can you have microphone?
Jack.
Jack. Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Jack, how does it feel when you're angry? Like, where do you feel it in your body? Like, maybe imagine...
I guess you get hot-headed, so you feel it in your head, and you can't control how you feel very much.
But what do you want to do when you're angry?
Um,
Do you want to...
Release, like, I guess you want to, like, get the feeling out of you. Just, like, shout or whatever it is that you need to do.
Did it happen to you when someone is yelling at you or when you're angry and you weren't able to handle your emotions? You just bursts into anger and...
Yeah, I guess, like, when I was younger, a kid, I'd get angry, but...
Excuse me.
In response to other things, yeah.
All right. So your anger is you feel it on your head that you have hot-headed. Where else in your body? What else? What else? Yeah.
I'm actually not sure.
Okay. All right. That's good. So yes, each and every one of us has a different emotions or in the body when you feel angry. Sometimes people feel it on their hands that they just want to like clinch, or they feel it in their jaw that their jaw is stuck. It depends on every person of where do you feel the anger. What makes you think that you're angry because of your emotions in your body. You know, you cannot say like, I'm so angry right now, but then if you don't feel it in your body, then it's not real. Anger is not real. So it only makes sense when you feel it in your body. So that's where the emotions comes from. So emotions are associated, this is going to be interesting, with chemical processes in our body. They come and go quickly and typically lasting only 90 seconds. But we love it. We want it to stay more. You know? So imagine 90 seconds only. If you're angry, I'll be like, I'm going to wait for 90 seconds. Just wait. I'm going to respond to you in 90 seconds. How I wish we can do that. But when someone is angry with us, you're going to yell too. Especially when you have problems with your relationship. Relationship, there's no filter at all. God, talk to me and I'll just kill you. Right? We have that. In every relationship, there's no filter. We can insult. We can yell to our partners and everything. Because it's so easy to like compose when you are with your friends. You can just like, I already killed you many times in my head. But with your partner, you just out. You're like a different person. But it's not you. It's about your subconscious because you are very invested emotionally and your partner becomes familiar to you. And that's why you can express freely with your partner. So all emotions are felt in our physical body, and after 90 seconds, it's a choice to continue feeling it. So also we can feel happiness in our body. We can also joy. We can also feel excitement. Like we know when you're excited. Like me, when I'm excited, I always do this. Like, oh my God, let's go. The wave is so good. So yeah, I have that. So each and every one of us has a different feeling of excitement or joy. But the problem is, it says here it's a choice to continue feeling it. But when we feel happy or joy, we just like, nope, because something's gonna bad happen. So you choose not to feel the happiness. You choose to end it. Instead of like, I'm gonna enjoy this feeling of happiness. It's the sunset is so good. But oh yeah, I need to actually, I'm so busy right now. So you cut it. It's so easy to cut happiness, but why is it's so hard to get out from negative feeling of anger and sadness? Yeah, no? It's like when you're happy, it's so easy to get out from happiness, but when it comes to anger and sadness, it's just suck you in. Because that's the familiar feeling. You grow up maybe with the angry energy from family, angry father, always angry mother, always angry environment, or even teachers. Teacher is always angry. I'm like, what's wrong with your life, teacher? So yeah. And also this is, a study found that people who bottle up their emotions were 30% more likely to die prematurely. Imagine just not expressing your emotions, you die because of it. Would you keep your emotions now that you know that you're gonna die 30%? But here's the thing also. It's so easy to say you want to express your emotions, but how are you going to express it in a healthy way? That's the question too. That everyone is like, yeah, I can express my emotions, but how can I express it in a healthy way that I'm not hurting anyone or I'm not projecting it to people? And that's why there's men's circle, there's women's circle, and that helps a lot. Or you're just gonna go to the beach and scream. That's one way of releasing a healthy emotions. And also, there are risks being diagnosed with cancer increased by 70%. So this is by National Library of Medicine, and also Dr. Gabor Mate, he said that most of the cancers is caused by suppressed emotions. So imagine 70% if you don't express your emotions, you're going to have cancer. Would you want that? No. I would tell you like, hey, you hurt me. But but it's so easy to say to express emotions, but yeah, that's the question is how to express it in a healthy way. But now that you know that if you don't express your emotions, you have 70% chance that you're gonna have a cancer. I don't want cancer. No one wants to. All right, so let's move on to hypnosis or hypnotherapy. With a lot of stage hypnosis, as you can see, people can turn into like chickens or ducks or whatever it is. So I just want to like debunk the misconception of hypnosis. So what hypnosis is not, it's magic. It's not magic at all. How I wish it's magic, And a special power. If it's a special power, I would be the richest hypnotherapist in the world. I'd be like, cool, I'll give you money. I could close the deal every time when I want to work with clients. They will pay me right away. I would be like that. And I can control over someone. Imagine if I can control someone, okay, withdraw 10 million Indonesian rupiah, guys. Rupiah for me and give it to me. It's a state where you can get stuck. No, not at all, because it just shows on the stage hypnosis, an unconscious state where you can't remember anything. You can remember anything, the subconscious records everything. So you can remember anything. So what hypnosis really is, it's a natural altered state of conscious of the brain. So it means that when you are driving, you are under hypnosis. When you are sucked into whatever you're doing and focus, hypnosis is just a focus actually. Meditation is a hypnosis. Driving is hypnosis. Like anything that you do autopilot, you are in the hypnosis. And that's why when we're doing the hypnotherapy, we will just say, I want you to focus on your breath, or take a deep breath in and breathe out, or focus on your body. And that can make your subconscious focus on that because it's automatic. So it's a more direct access to our subconscious as well, because your body feels relaxed and feels safe. That's why I can easily access her 5-year-old memory. And also with a traumatic event as well. I need to make sure that the client feels safe and feel relaxed in a deeper relaxation state, in the trance, in order for me to where is the trauma coming from? And that's where I can access the memory. So yes, you're fully in control when under hypnosis and not have to take on the therapist's questions or suggestions if you don't want to. And that's why there's a lot of clients that are so resistant, because they don't want to accept the reprogramming. They're not ready. It's just not yet. And when you compare it to the stage hypnosis, when they said sleep, and then when they said sleep, they sleep, because to be honest, there's already preconditioning happening before that person being hypnotized. Before she booked the ticket, because we can only hypnotize you when you say yes. When there is the what? What do you call that?
Consent.
Huh? Consent. Yeah. Thank you. When there is consent. So before she booked the stage hypnosis, she already watched the videos. So she already have idea what's going to happen to her. And then she booked the ticket. There's already yes. 2 yeses already. And the third yes is just she volunteered to be hypnotized. And she said, no, it doesn't happen. But subconsciously, you already said yes many times. That's why the stage hypnotist can easily hypnotize people on the stage. Because there's a lot of yeses already. You want this. It's not the first time you said yes. And when you are in the stage, then the suggestions are easy. And then there is consent. There's no such thing as I can hypnotize people without consent. I cannot access your trauma or memories or patterns if you don't want me. Everything is a consent. Does it make sense? It's okay now? All right, moving on. We are the creators of our world, but before that, the world created us first. It's so easy for us, especially in the manifestation thing, or it's so easy for people to say it's okay, you can create the reality. But yeah, there's reality created first before we can create one. And in order for us to create our own reality, we need to be aware of what's our reality. Because how can you and learn that reality that we learn, which is our creators is our mother, our father, our teacher, our direct family, or maybe your direct caretaker is your grandmother or your grandfather. And this is where the subconscious mind, or this is where your relationship affects, because it will relive or copy what's the relationship of your mother and your father. And you will say, yeah, but my mother loves me, but my father loves me. But then if you're going to ask, like, how's your relationship with your mom and dad? Like, how do they fight? And you're gonna say something? Okay. So, how's your relationship with your mom and dad, and how do they fight? And I always ask my client is like, explain or describe to me, like, how your mom and dad fight. And they were like, yeah, just a normal couple. They're yelling at each other. Like, you know, like they're just yelling at each other because my dad is alcoholic and my mom is just so, you know, she says it easily, normally, because it's actually normal for her. And then when I asked her, do you want to fight like that with your partner? No, I don't want. I want my partner to be like settled and we can talk about it. We can, you know, we can just sit down with no anger and everything. And then when you ask them, so what's normal for you then? Is it your mother and father's way of fight, or your way? And she was like, yeah. So what's normal for you? That's why we choose a partner what's familiar for us, not what's right for us. Unconsciously. We actually copy, or we actually choose a partner that's familiar, which is not really look like, but the same patterns as our father and the same patterns as our mother. The couples here, like, let me know your mother and father now. So that's why it's driving your subconscious mind, and it will describe how's your patterns of relationship, because it's familiar for you. All right, so does any one of you feel this way? Just raise your right hand. Or anything? Well, I didn't ask yet.
What you meant, what you just said. Yeah, I agree with that.
You agree? Oh, good. That's good. So, keeps attracting toxic relationship or emotionally unavailable partners. I'm one of them before.
I don't think that the slide has changed.
Oh, the slide didn't change?
Let me just quickly check. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It changed in mine. Let's see. Oh, now it changed.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Welcome to Bali Internet. Did you guys, online people, did it change? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Oh. So, who among you here keeps attracting toxic relationships or emotionally unavailable partners? Oh, I'm one of them before too. We're just Josh. Anger issues can't control emotions. It's like when someone triggers you, you're just like rage. No one said. No. Also, sudden extreme sadness or loneliness. You just feel sad and depressed out of nowhere. Yeah. Self-sabotaging.
Oh, I think everyone.
Self-sabotaging, yeah. Fear of being seen. I am seen now, so I don't have that fear anymore. Fear of being judged. I'm here in front of you. Being vulnerable to be judged. Oh, wow. Blaming her or himself when something goes wrong. Oh, don't worry, me too. And feeling not enough. Not enough. Enough of what, actually, no. Not enough. Or also over-giving but can't receive. It's just so hard for you to receive. Just hard. Or just give, but then when someone like do something good to you, you'll be like, no, it's... feeling not belong. Like, when you are in a group, even if you are in a group, you still doesn't feel belong. Especially here in Bali. Can set boundaries. It's hard for us to set boundaries. You just like, okay, I'm going to be with the people. Like, you just go with they said go with the flow, but actually just couldn't set boundaries. And also people pleasing as well. Huh. People pleasing. And stuck on the same life story and easily gets triggered. All right, so a lot of you here have the symptoms of emotionally wounded people. We all are, actually. We all are, to be honest. I'm also, what do you call that, under construction, working on it. So this is where the interesting part is the 5 core emotional wounds, which is like driving your relationship as well. That's not also about the relationship, but also about the friendship, your work relationship, your friendship relationship, or just house relationship, or any kinds of relationship, even with a stranger's relationship. So we develop these 5 core emotional wounds from ages 0 to 10, because we all have that limiting of belief of like, I don't feel enough. But why you don't feel enough? What's the reason? Like, why you don't feel enough? Where it's coming from? Like, I don't feel worthy. And like, why do you don't feel worthy? And especially us, that we are so we are conscious, we want logic, we want reasoning, we want to have reason for everything in order for us to believe it. So this is the 5 core emotional wounds. For those of you who started your healing journey, you might have one of these 5 core emotional wounds, or for those who didn't start their healing journey and still curious about what's your 5 core emotional wounds, then at the end of this course, you're gonna know it. So these are the main emotional wounds that take a very big wounds, because like the self-confidence, the low self-esteem is just only the signs of it. It's only the symptoms of it. It's not the core. That's why I call it the 5 core emotional wounds. And I get so interested with this book. It's from Heal Your Wounds and Find Your True Self. It's good. So Heal Your Wounds and Find Your True Self by Lise Bourbeau. She's actually Canadian, French-Canadian, and she works with 40,000 people. And she have the research, and she's done all the research for me in order for me to talk about it with you guys. So that's why I choose this book, and it's really very interesting. She was able also to have the body, like the patterns of like, this person have a betrayal, just looking at the body type. This person has abandonment issues, just looking about the body type. But she done the book like 1999. So our body type changes now. That's why I didn't put it in my presentation. But if you are curious about it, you can take a look in the book of the Heal Your Wounds and Find Your True Self. And you can also check like what are the patterns. Because now we have, most of us are, exercising, or the changes of the food and everything. So it might change also the structure, body structure. All right, so what are the 5 core emotional wounds? So the 5 core emotional wounds are abandonment. Who is here, it's anxious and avoidant in a relationship? Which one are you, anxious or avoidant?
Anxious.
Anxious, ooh. All right. Abandonment, why are you anxious? You're scared to be alone?
Me?
Yeah.
No. No.
Oh,
But,
chill.
like, giving more than what I get back,
Okay.
and basically believing in the dream. That's not actually true.
Oh.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Oh. But maybe at the end of this, you will you will get your answers. Also, rejection as well. Like, who's scared to be rejected here? Yeah. Oh, don't worry, me too. I just work on it. And betrayal. Scared to be betrayed, like cheated on, like many times, more than once. Oh. To betrayal. Also, humiliation, disrespect. Like, like a partner who can easily like insult you, or even like a stranger who can easily insult you, or a boss that is very condescending or something. And also injustice or unfair. Also, you can have that too, unfair of like, same, like over giving but cannot receive, or when someone do good for you, you cannot receive it because you think like it's unfair. Like I need to work more in order for me to receive that reward or something. So yes, those are the 5 core emotional wounds. And okay, let's continue. Abandonment. So yeah, I already asked like who among you here tried being ghosted? Oh,
Tried it or have been?
have been actually have been. Was it tried? Like I tried. Have been. Have you?
Oh yeah, people ghost all the time. People ghost all the time. Just in general, like send a message to someone and then they just leave you on scene. I'm sure it happens to all of us at some level.
Yes.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
Bad, because I would rather people be straight up with me. Like even if you text me, like I honestly just don't want to talk to you, dude. Like that would be better to me than being left on scene.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say that to someone because it's confrontational, isn't it? So. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So yeah, they also have their own wounds to deal with. And also like who among you here anxious in a relationship, or you keep on attracting partners that are avoidant. Like I want to talk to you, but then they just avoid when something's going wrong. I mean, they just don't want to talk about their feelings and emotions, and they just avoid it. Like, or when you start to feel connected with someone, you just, bye. I don't want to open my heart to you. You just avoid that vulnerability. And also the anxious as well. Like the more people avoid you, the more you get anxious. The more you just like text, oh, where are you right now? Why he's not replying? Why she's not replying? Oh, what is she doing? We have that. So yeah. So this is the abandonment issues. And sometimes when you have a really bad abandonment wound, you can always, you will always attract people who are anxious. And that's why you avoid. Or when you are the one who's anxious, you will attract a partner who will avoid you. Because it's a mirror. And with that, and that's why you need to heal that wounds in order for you to be disconnected, because it's all about energy. It's all about what's familiar for you. And then once you are an anxious person or an avoidant person, you can also take a look of like, how's the relationship of my mom and dad? You know, because most of our parents are so busy working, and then when they come home, that you want to have the attention of your dad, and your dad is just, I'm so tired, I just don't want to deal with you. And we have that kind of familiarity when our dad ignore us, and we feel abandoned, we feel ignored as well. And all right, so abandonment is the act of leaving someone. Is the act of leaving someone, or also act of leaving someone when someone leaves you as well. And it includes choosing not to take care of them anymore. Abandonment entails withdrawing support or companionship, or results in feeling person deserted and neglected. So it's either it's not all about your relationship as well. When you are creating your business or project with someone, you just abandon it. You just wake up, no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You just abandon it. And how many of us abandon projects, abandon friendship easily? We don't even want to talk about it.
But what if you abandon them because they no longer serve you?
I'm sorry?
What if you abandon that relationship or a project because you have acknowledged that it is no longer serving your purpose?
Well, it depends as well. If you already learned your lesson, then yes, it's a time to walk away. But sometimes people choose to stay because they're so scared to be abandoned. And they choose to stay in that relationship because the fear of abandonment or the fear of being alone and left alone is too much for them. Even if the guy just cheated, or the guy just a toxic relationship in general.
Set your boundaries and walk away.
Yeah. Easy to say, but if you have fear of abandonment, you just can't.
You're talking more about the feeling than actually abandoning someone, right?
Yeah,
because
it's the feeling.
I can say to someone, hey, I'm abandoning this project, I don't want to work on it anymore. But it's that person might have trauma with abandonment,
Yes.
and then they would be emotionally triggered. Or it could be someone else that doesn't have the wounds and then they would just be like, okay, you're abandoning the project, best of luck with your next project.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with leaving something. It's just, we're just talking about emotions. Of the person.
What it makes you feel.
Yeah.
What makes you feel when you're abandoned? It's the feelings and emotions of it. So yeah, thank you so much for that. So people with fears of abandonment might think like, I leave you before you can leave me. When you're starting to feel connected with a person, sometimes you just abandon the relationship as well. So I leave you before you can leave me because you have a fear of being abandoned. So you abandon first. And nobody supports me, and I'm not prepared to support anyone else. So these are the people who are emotionally unavailable as well. And if you leave me, you won't come back. You know, sometimes when you attract a relationship of like, I want to go with you, I want to go with you, I want to go with you. Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? As simple as that. Like, girl, stay. I want to work out by myself. Or there's some people who unconsciously wants to have their partner every time. They are not clingy. They're just scared to be abandoned. But sometimes you see it as a very clingy person. But there's just a wound that they don't know. Because maybe when they're young, their parents or their father travels a lot. And then when you are young, there's no, because you are still in your subconscious. The subconscious doesn't know what's past and future. And then even when your dad said like, I'm going to come back tomorrow. But the child doesn't know what's tomorrow. Or there's no such thing as future. So when the dad leaves, he feels like it's forever. So also like when the divorce, especially like if you have a divorced parents, and then your mother or your father is angry with a partner, or with your mom or your dad, and then all of a sudden your dad didn't show up. Because like the mother, I don't want you to see my child. And then you feel abandoned by your dad because no one explains to the children that there's something going on with the marriage, because we think that they don't understand this. But all they wanted is to explain that what happened, like, hey, we're gonna have a divorce and your mom and dad, we're gonna separate ways. But all of a sudden, the dad just suddenly gone or the mother just suddenly gone. And that's why you feel abandoned. As a child, you will take it literally because there's no logic when you're a child. It was like, oh, my dad abandoned me because I don't feel enough. Oh, my dad abandoned me because I don't feel worth it, because I'm not perfect. Like I should have done better. And that's the reason why, like, you're too scared, you're anxious. This where the anxious feeling coming from, like, I want to be with you, I want to be with you, I want to go with you. It's the subtle signs. But then when you ask your partner, like, why do you always want to be with me? Did your dad abandon you when you're a child? It's true. Know your parents. No.
Is that the right way to deal with it though?
Like, let's cut the bullshit and just that's it. Like, if you really truly want to know your partner's emotional wounds or partner's anxious feeling or fear, ask the dynamics of the relationship of the parents, of the mother and the father, because they are the one who is handling the keyboard. So what's the mother's and father's belief, it's also your belief as well. And you're just copying everything.
But your partner has to be open to hearing this stuff too. If
Yeah.
you're just like, ooh, you've got abandonment wounds, and they're just like, F you, like, stop talking shit about me. Like, there's not much you can do about that. Or is there? Like, maybe you have some ideas around that. Or
Yeah, or that's why I'm doing this workshop. That's why I'm doing this workshop, because like, it's people are open to receive this kind of thing, and you just like hint it. Oh, maybe you can check. I don't have masterclass yet, so maybe you can read this book. Maybe you can understand it in a way, because they will also feel triggered. Like, why are you asking me that? But you can also like, slowly open it up. Like, under like, hey, I just wonder like, how's your dad? Like, how's your mom?
I think it also depends on the person, right? And where in life you are. We've all been in a place where I'm just not ready to open that can of worms yet.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're in a relationship with somebody that has trauma on a particular topic, and they're not ready to touch that topic, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yes.
There is no amount of education or books or therapy
Yes.
you can do or help or get
Yeah.
until that person is ready to actually touch it.
Yes.
And I think we've all been there to some degree with something.
Yes, that's really, yeah, that's a really good one, because like same as for everything, if you're not ready for it, then you cannot let it go. For hypnotherapy, healing, all healing modalities works, but if you're not ready for it, it's not gonna work. So there's always the right time for everything as well. So sometimes also you attract a person who is not ready to let it go in order for you to know that how it feels not to evolve. He or she is just a reflection of a person of like, okay, if I don't heal this wound, then that's me. That's how I look like. So that's why some people are not meant to evolve. They're just here for us to show how not to evolve. You know, see? Yeah.
How does someone know that they actually have a trauma to heal, or that they actually have a wound? Because you said it yourself that we operate very much from our subconscious. So maybe the person is not even aware that there is something to fix. So how can someone actually almost like self-diagnose that, okay, I have some work to do?
Suffering. Sorry.
Repeating the same pattern.
Repeating the same pattern over again. You're getting hurt over and over again. And that's why suffering is like 90% of the people, when they suffer enough, that's the time to change. If they don't suffer enough, let them. Because only suffering can make us feel that, okay, it's time. I'm so done with it. You know? So that's also, yeah, it's just like when people are not ready to change, then let them. Yes, you can tell when you're ready. You cannot push anyone to be ready. But there is, yeah, like with you, it's just like also the awareness of like the patterns, why it keeps on happening all over and over again. What do I want to change? And some people, they couldn't see that. And we just let them if they don't see that. Even if you can see it clearly, and you will tell them like, hey, you have abandonment issues, you should work on this, you should work on that. If they cannot see that in their view, you cannot.
So let's say that if you're not talking about someone else, but we are talking about ourselves. So the example that you give, that when somebody is more of the anxious type in the relationship, they try to cling on to the other person. How do you know that you are actually being clingy because you have a wound to heal versus you're acting out of love and affection?
With love and affection, you should have like a freedom. Like you can feel it when you're clingy. You have fear. You can feel it in your body of like, I don't want to let you go. Like when you're going to come back. Like when you're going to come back. Like you have this kind of tension, anxious feeling in your body. You know, if you just want, oh, I miss you. It's a different feeling. Like, oh, I want to see you. It's a different feeling. Even if your voice, you know. So you know yourself better. That's it. You know, that's why like when you want to see someone, or when you're starting to be clingy and you have this kind of energy, you can feel energies. We can feel energies. And you can feel it within your body. It's your body. That's why they said like feel it through your body and like know your body better. Know your emotions better. Know your fears better. That's why you need to be connected with your body. And that's why we have burnouts. We have overgiving. We have just too much. Because we're not listening to our body. If we know how to listen to our body, it's just like, oh, I miss you. I want to see you. Rather than like, oh, I want to see you because you're anxious that the person will be gone. You're anxious because the person will leave you. There is an anxious one, and there's also an excitement of like, I want to see you. So yes, that's how you can tell, is to connect more in your body and listen to your body as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, thank you. All right, so signs you're suffering from the wound of abandonment. Seeking the presence of others to avoid feeling sadness. There's people like who want to just like be in the group all the time because they're actually scared to be alone. They have the fear of being abandoned, or like just fear of being alone, and they just couldn't, you just couldn't stay still. You want to be surrounded with a lot of people every time. Also, unaware that leaving someone or something is a form of abandonment. So abandoning projects or abandoning someone, avoiding emotions and vulnerability because they're just too scared to be abandoned. Staying in a toxic relationship to avoid being abandoned, even if it's not preferred. Like, there's a lot of people, the emotions are strong. The emotional wounds are very strong of being abandoned, rather than, being in a toxic relationship, like the guy keeps insulting you, or it's alcoholic and everything, but you're just so scared to be alone. You're so scared to be abandoned. Or also your reason is like, oh, I don't want to break up with him because I don't want him I don't want to abandon him, or I don't want him to feel alone. Because I'm being abandoned when I was young, and I don't want to do it with other people. Yeah, but no, actually it's just you're scared to be abandoned. That's why you couldn't abandon that person, or you couldn't leave the toxic relationship. So it's all about the emotions, it's all about the fear. There's also some reasons of like people staying in a toxic relationship as well. And we're gonna talk more about it when we continue. Also experiencing dependency or anxiety. Dependent, everywhere your partner is, you still want to go. Like the anxious feeling of like, oh, wherever you go, I go. Because relationships should be interdependence. You have a life, I have a life, we can have a life together, but then sometimes my life, your life now is my life. Because you're just dependent now, because you have the fear of being abandoned. So feeling hurt when not invited to meetings together or get-togethers or that they expected to be a part of. Like, when you have a meeting or a coffee with a friend, when you're having a coffee with a friend and then your friend suddenly cancel. When your friend suddenly cancel, how do you feel? People who doesn't have abandonment issues will be like, oh, she suddenly abandoned, she canceled our meeting because like, I'm not worth it, I'm not blah, 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 but the people who doesn't have abandonment issues, they will be just like, yeah, that's okay, we can do it next time. Everything is just a feeling of how does it make you feel when someone cancels to you. Or like, especially here in Bali, we have a lot of get-togethers, parties, and everything, and you're not invited. How does it make you feel when you're not invited? Everyone is partying on Swara, the festival. They have all the tickets, blah, 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 and they're having fun, especially in social media. And it's like, oh, they're having fun without me. But how does it make you feel when you're not invited? That's also a sign that you have a fear of abandonment. When you feel like not worthy, like, yeah, I'm not worthy to be invited. So, yep, that's it. Avoidant, independent. And is there something at the bottom? I can't see it. All right, so let's take the example of a woman who lives in an alcoholic or abusive partner. She fears that her suffering might be even greater if she leaves her partner when she's with him. So yeah, that's it. Like, she couldn't admit her wound as well, but then she still stays in the relationship because the fear of being alone, abandoned. And most of it is just like one of the parents abandoned you when you were young. And that's how you can ask your partner. Like, that's why it's so important to like ask the person the person that you dated is like, this is the time to like how to ask the right questions. But when you are ready with a relationship, it should not be a problem to ask this. It should not be a problem to ask this if you want to create a healthy relationship because you want to work on it together. So asking this kind of questions like, hey, I want to know more about your parents. Because what your parents' dynamic, if one of your parents abandoned you, then you might have this kind of abandonment issues. You might have this kind of anxious or avoidant issues. That every time when something's going wrong, your partner just leave, bye. They just abandon you as well. And you're just a mirror of each other. And that's why we attract people that's familiar for us, not what's right for us. Because it's so familiar that, oh, my dad always abandoned me, then I also attract people who always abandon me. And ghosted me, like out of nowhere. Bye. Mm-hmm.
Just a question. So, okay, you said this a couple of times, that we attract what's familiar to us, not what's right for us. If we have already rationalized the thought that this is not good for me, right? why does someone still doing the same thing over and over again? Okay, subconscious drives that.
Yes.
But there's already like a rational thought, like this is something I want to break away from. But it still keeps on happening.
Yeah, it still keeps on happening because this is the power of inner child healing. Because what makes you stay is that inner child scared to be abandoned. And that's why all of the therapy, most of the healing modalities is all about going back to the inner child. Even if you don't want to admit it or not, but yes, that's all the trauma comes from. And as you've said, like consciously, we are aware, consciously we want to break the patterns, but 95% is the subconscious. So 5% is the willpower, which is the conscious mind. You are aware that you want to break the patterns, but 95% your subconscious telling you, nope, we're gonna stay, we're gonna stay, we're gonna stay. Even if you're scared, because you actually like the feeling of being abandoned. There is a chemical feeling, there is like a heavy feeling, there's a dense feeling, there's a tension feeling on your body. And if you don't reprogram it or heal it in the right way, then yes, you will still going to attract those partners.
Yeah. There's also a question from the audience. Someone is asking, I have a friend in my life that have this fear of abandonment. Whenever I don't invite them to do something or I had to cancel a meeting on them, it triggered them. This in the past led to me trying to keep things secret from them in order to not hurt them.
Sad.
How can I, as a friend, communicate that it is not meant as a rejection when I cancel a meeting with them? Do you address their feelings about this?
Yeah, you can also assure, if now that we are conscious, we are aware of like how it feels to be abandoned, or we are aware now that, oh, my friend has an abandonment issues. You can assure her all the time. It's the assurance. It's always the assurance of like, hey, I really wanted to invite you, but I cannot. They need explanation as well. The people who have abandonment issues, or when they are in their trauma or in their wound, treat them like a child or a baby boy, a baby girl, or a 7-year-old person. That's how you're going to navigate with those people who have traumas, for those people who have this kind of wounds as well. Because like we are all like a walking time bomb, or we all have an open wound. Even if the person will touch you out of love, but then he touches it or trigger it, you're still gonna scream. So like her, like she doesn't want to abandon the person. She doesn't want to abandon her friend. But then because the abandonment wound is so opened, she can only assure it. But that's not her, but also that's not her, what do you call that, role to make her realize that. So you just let her as well. Sometimes we're just part of each other's lives. We have the purpose to hurt people and to heal people. That's it. We're just playing our own role. And we just let them, As you said, if the person is not ready, then we cannot do anything about it. Because that's her insecurity. The insecurity here, if you're still trying to please the person, of like she has abandonment issues, so I'm gonna please her, so she doesn't feel abandoned as well. So if you have that kind of feeling of like, oh, I wanna prove to you something, that I'm always gonna be here for you, but you can only be there for that person at a certain amount of attention and time, and you let them on their journey. They will wake up one day. I hope so.
Refer them to you.
Huh?
Just refer them to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's time for me to do the master class. All right. So the deeper the wound of abandonment. So most of the time when we have the abandonment wound, when it's only like you, it's about me too as well. And because we attract people around us to show us what we do to ourselves as well. It's like, yeah, I keep on attracting toxic relationship, but it's like a patterns anymore. But how about you? Maybe you are emotionally unavailable as well. Maybe you are avoidant as well. Maybe you're anxious as well. Maybe you have the fear of abandonment. The reason why it's just like what happening around you is just only the feedback. It's only the mirror of you. So healing comes when you want to take a look at yourself and you forgive yourself for doing the things all over again. And that's it. Like, for me, that's the measurement of healing. is how you forgive yourself for the patterns that you keep on doing. And so that you can let go of that very heavy energy, because it's the anger, it's the tension, it's the you're not allowing yourself to feel that, because you're just looking like this is the fault of the person. It's you, it's you, it's you. But when you allow yourself to feel like, okay, actually it's me, I am emotionally avoidant as well. So once you allow yourself that, so there's already a conscious, there's already awareness, but a lot of people are aware of their wounds, but at the end of the day, what you do about it to change it. So that's where your work comes from, inner work comes from. Okay, well, we're just in the first emotional wound, my God. Okay, so this one is another video. This is one of the client who feels abandoned. And yeah, just feels abandoned, and it's just a sample video of like how does it look like when you are in my session. No. All right, so there's no, I hope there's audio for this one, but yeah, you can have the subtitle. Watch it. All right, so yes, that's one also of like an example of like where is the abandonment issues coming from. And so like she knows that she's very anxious in the relationship. She's always scared, like every time she is connected with someone, she wants to text right away. That's also like text like, oh, where are you? When I'm gonna see you and everything. And she's always anxious until it reached to the point that the guy will abandon her. And it's just, she's just so tired of it, and that's why I'm here. So yeah, so that's what happens. As I've said, we can access everything. She's only 1 year old on the time. She knows that her dad left her, but then no one tells her, like her mom and dad was divorced, and the mother was just so angry with the dad, and the mother just, I don't want to see you. I don't want you to see my child. But for her, she's just like, I hate you. I hate your dad. Even the dad was saying, I love you, I'm sorry, I need to leave you. But I just couldn't handle the relationship with your mother. It's the biological dad.
Is this an example of timeline therapy? It looks quite similar.
Yeah, it's similar, like timeline therapy, past life regression, or whatever it is. They all use hypnosis, breathwork hypnosis, like anything. It's just only the trigger words that can make you go there. So we have a lot of different methods, which one that works for you. So yeah, same thing as timeline therapy.
Is everyone's Wi-Fi still on? Because mine just got off.
It's good. All right, moving on. All right, so let's move on to the second emotional wound, which is rejection. So raise your hand if you have a fear of rejection. Me,
Why not?
All right, so yeah, by the way, before we move on to the rejection, I just want to share my personal story. I have a really bad fear of abandonment as well. I am a very avoidant person. So once I'm connected with someone, I would just like, oh, this guy is starting to feel clingy with me. I just run away and I ghost. I'm the person who's very good in ghosting. Before, okay, I changed. And I abandoned workshops as well. Like I tried to organize workshop twice and I just didn't show up. I mean, I canceled it last minute. So that's how, and now I'm here because I was able to heal it. I'm so proud of myself. But yeah. So yes, that's also like an example of like the fear of abandonment, because like when I was a child, when I was 6 years old, my dad abandoned me if I would be in the victim mentality, my dad abandoned me, that's all I can say. He abandoned me, I don't feel worthy, and he just left me. But in reality, my dad needs to be transferred in another hometown, which is 8 hours away. And my dad just didn't intend to abandon me. But for me, as a child, I feel like I was being abandoned. And during that time, there's no cell phone yet. And there's no beeper, there's no telephone. I live in the mountains, so like 1 month feels like forever for me. And that's the anchor coming from. Moving on, okay, that's it. So yeah, fear of rejection. I've seen a lot of people have raised their hand. And also before anyone else has a chance to reject you, you already reject yourself. The feeling of like, oh my God, this guy is just so good, but then I don't feel that I'm worthy of him. We have that too. And all of us have $1 million idea. And why it didn't happen? Because we reject ourselves first. Like, oh, that idea is bullshit. I'm not gonna do it, and everything. And that's also a rejection. And imagine when you have a job, right? Okay, you can see my legs. If you have a job, when you have a job and you're asking for a pay rise, what's the reason why you don't ask for a pay rise?
I feel like you don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm. But why you feel like you don't deserve it? Because you are scared to be rejected. You have the fear, this fear of like rejection, and that's why you cannot ask for the pay rise, or you couldn't even do that project or the dreams that you wanted to do. And also, yeah, I'm gonna talk. Yeah, that's it for the fear of rejection. So rejection is to refuse, to take, agree, to believe, to discard, or worthless, or to deny of acceptance, love, or someone is a rejected child. You know that someone, when someone is in a trauma or when you are in a relationship, it's like, hey, okay, let's just talk about about sex as well. When you are asking, if you want to be intimate with your partner and the partner said, I'm so tired. Sometimes you'll understand like, yeah, it's okay, she's tired or he's tired. And then for you, it's just like, oh, I feel rejected. I don't feel, I just want to be intimate with you. And then all of a sudden you feel that very hard rejection. That's also one way to know if you have a fear of rejection as well. No?
How do you know if you have a fear of rejection or you just don't like rejection? Because I don't know if many people like rejection.
Mm-hmm.
It's like unpleasant for most people. So how do you know if you have like a fear or if it's just like a normal level of not liking rejection?
Mm-hmm. Because that's the reason why like also like only few people are successful as well. Because like they don't have so much wound of rejection that stops them from. We always have that kind of a little bit of fear, but you still do it. But then if your wound of rejection, even you reject yourself first. Let's just say you have an amazing, or you just say there's a beautiful woman and you want to ask her number. But you don't ask because you're so scared to be rejected. Especially with men, men are prone to rejection because you are the one who asked our number. And instead of like going up to the woman, asking the number of the woman, if you're not scared to be rejected, it's like, oh, okay, that's okay. Well, you move on easily. So it's the fear or the tense or the dense feeling, the emotions in your body, the feeling on how does it make you feel when you want to ask someone's number, or even like, I have the business idea, I want to find an investor, but I can't because I'm just too scared to be rejected. So it also like projects in the business, the friendship, and that's also sometimes you over people please because you don't want to reject someone. And you just stay in the relationship because you don't want them to feel rejected. And yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, for now, yes, you're consciously listening to me. So sometimes it's like, but after this, after a few days, it will make sense. And also those who suffer from rejection feel that they don't, their whole being, but also their right to exist as well. So I have a client, most of us suffered from rejection, especially if you are an unplanned child. When you are an implant child or like a firstborn child that your mom and dad doesn't plan you. So when your mom says like, hey, I am pregnant. And then your dad said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not ready for it. And then your mother feels rejected. If your mother feels rejected, yeah, and your mother feels rejected. So imagine when you hear like, oh, I'm not ready for that, and then you are the baby, and when you are in the baby, it amplifies everything, like 10 times amplified. That's why most pregnant women are very sensitive with sounds and smell and everything, because the child makes it more sensitive. So imagine when someone tells you like, I don't want to, like I don't want that child, and then imagine when you are in a cave and someone is talking, that's how amplified it is. So that's why it's so important when you are pregnant or when someone is pregnant, they are very sensitive with everything. So the child feels very rejected even she's not born yet. And also the child can also feel abandoned when your dad says like, oh, I'm sorry, and then your dad just gone. When the mother says like, yeah, when the mother says, hey, I'm pregnant, and then your dad just ghosted you. So, yeah. That's it. So signs of rejection is often compare themselves to someone better. And that's why also sometimes like, oh, your ex is better than me, or someone is better than me. When you're in a relationship, you always compare that woman. Why is that woman, your insecurities is like, oh, that woman is sexier than me. And that's a sign of rejecting yourself as well. Even if the guy is keep on choosing you, and you're just like, yeah, but you can find someone that is better than me. Like, why do you choose me? You don't even believe it, but yeah, I like you, I love you. But yeah, why do you choose me? Why do you love me? Yeah, because you reject yourself as well. So what you say or do is worthless. Sometimes when we have idea, when you're talking to someone and you want to speak up, you just can't because you think that your idea is useless, and you just couldn't speak up because like, yeah, my idea is useless anyway, so I couldn't speak up, and you're rejecting yourself. As well, that's also a sign of like, when you are in a conversation with a group, they have a group conversation just like here, and you just couldn't like, I want to say something, like, or even like you asking questions, you couldn't ask questions because like, yeah, maybe my question is stupid, I'm not gonna ask anything. So yes, that's also a sign. And also feel rejected when they aren't chosen. It's like the guy chooses you, and then you sabotage the relationship for the guy to reject you. And then once the guy rejects you, and you will just say, yeah, the guy rejected me. But what happens before the breakup is you keep on like pushing him, asking him like, why do you love me? What? But there's a better person, like your ex is better, or that person is better, or like I'm gonna stalk in your Instagram because you're following all those girls that compares me, and you're rejecting yourselves all over and over again. And then the guys get so like, oh, I'm so done with it. And then the guy decided to leave, and then you feel rejected. And you couldn't even see your sabotaging feeling because it's the unconscious mind feeling rejected all over and over again. And then when the person does reject you, all you see is the guy rejecting you. But you didn't see that you rejected yourself first, that you sabotaged your relationship first. And also fear of confrontation, yeah, because it's sometimes it's just like what you say doesn't make sense, or tend to be perfectionists, the OCD people. The perfectionist people. Like, when you go out the house, everything should be perfect. Like, because like when something goes wrong, who's going to reject you? And sometimes when our mother or our father is very, very perfectionist, and that's why you always want to be like an A student. Because if you're not an A student, my father will not accept me. And if you're not that's why like there's the perfectionism comes from, because of the fear of rejection. And it always happens in a relationship that the woman or the guy is nagger. They nags a lot. Oh, why blah, 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 this and that, because that person haven't heard, haven't been seen, haven't been felt. And when it's not perfect, they feel very rejected. They need to be perfect in order to feel like they belong So it's also the sign of perfection. Perfectionism is a sign of like for you, you're too scared to be rejected. And also, of course, low self-esteem, lack confidence, shame or guilt, and worry excessively about others' opinions. And like me, I'm gonna be here if I have a wound of rejection. I'm not gonna start this workshop, or I cannot even talk to you properly because I'm gonna be scared of you might reject my ideas, you might reject what I'm talking about here. So but yeah. Also often neglect their own needs in order for others to take advantage of them to be liked. This is where the people pleasing comes from as well. Like, I'm gonna do everything for you. I'm gonna stay with you. I'm just gonna do everything because I'm too scared for you to be rejected. And because you also doesn't want to reject people as well. Even if like you don't like the person, but you just couldn't say no because you're too scared to reject people because you know how it feels to be rejected. So we are just the mirror of each other. So yeah, people pleaser. So when a person of fear of rejection, when someone interrupts them, okay, this one, like when you are in a group and then you're talking and someone interrupted you, you feel rejected. Like, how does it make you feel when someone interrupted you? These are all only the subtle signs of like the fear of rejection. Like you don't feel important, and sometimes you stop speaking and you just like, I don't want to talk anymore. Some people doesn't have that wounds and they just let it go. But for people who have fear of rejection, when someone interrupts them when they're talking, they feel like, okay, I am not important. I'm not worthy. I'm not able to listen to. So yeah. Okay, so if you continue to be afraid you will reject someone, you'll probably end up doing just that. So the deeper the wound of rejection, the more we reject someone else, projects, or whatever it is. And also sometimes there is a job offer. There is or a job offer, or like there is an opportunities. We reject it as well because we don't feel that we are worthy for that project, that we don't feel worthy of that business. Because like, yeah, we reject it. All right, so yeah, does it make sense, everyone? Are we still alive? Yeah.
Again, sorry, I've been asking a few questions.
Go for
but
it.
I've just
I
been
love it.
curious the whole talk whether the trauma typically comes from like the same sex parent, the opposite sex parent, or from the mother perhaps because she gave birth to you. So for example, like say for instance, the mother had a fear of rejection in the relationship, but I'm a male. Like, would I inherit her fear of rejection, or would I be more likely to inherit my father's wounds because he's the same sex parent? Does that make sense?
You will actually inherit both. It depends on like what's the strongest. Because your father rejecting your mother, so it means that you also have your father also reject. It's the mirror. So your father rejecting your mother, so your mother have a fear of rejection. And then also your father is doing that to reject. Does it make sense? It's like a mirror for each other. The person who rejects you is also have the feeling, also have the wound of rejection as well. Like you just attract those people who's gonna reject you, and because like when the subconscious mind, it depends on how does your mother feels. How does your mother feels when she was being rejected? So the question is if you're gonna get it from your father or if you're gonna get it from your mother. It depends on what you were able to absorb. But most likely you will absorb both, because your mother and your father is the one doing the keyboard. Like just imagine that you are newborn and your parents is subconsciously putting that programs in you. So most likely both of the parents, both of the wounds of the parents, you will have it. And it's just going to pass by like trauma to trauma, and it's like 7 generations of trauma. So it means that your mother or the mother of your mother also have the rejection wound. And until you break that patterns. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, so I don't have a video of the rejection wound, but then I also have a rejection wound as well. My example is like I am not, I have a fear of intimacy. The reason why I have a fear of intimacy because like when I was born, I am a premature baby. So I have a wrinkly skin. And then my dad said like, that's not my child, that's so ugly. And I felt rejected. And that's why like hugs for me, it's just like, no, don't hug me. Like don't, like, you know, like I cannot be that vulnerable and intimate. And yeah, I also have a friend here, like she's a hypnotherapist. Her name is Laura. She's one of the audience online. And we work on that as well. Because I didn't realize that I have a fear of intimacy. Because every time when someone hugs me, I just get a lot of tension. Like, please don't touch me. Please don't. Like, just don't. I have that kind of feeling. And I always just shake hands. You know? But most of the people like, hug. And when I come here in Bali, I always have people hugging me. And I'll be like, please don't hug me. Please just stop. So yes, I work on that as well. Because yeah, you just want to be held by your father, and then your father said like, oh my God, she's so ugly. She looks like a rat. Because I was premature and my skin is wrinkly, but now I'm beautiful. Okay, guys, that's how. Okay, moving on. All right, moving on to betrayal. So raise your hand if you have a fear of being betrayed, cheated, or lied to. Oh. Okay, now it's time for you to ask one of your parents which one who cheated. Is it? Do you know?
No, it's not my parents. It's no, my parents are still together.
They're still together,
very in
but
love, so.
do you have any idea if one of them?
No, oh no, never.
Never.
No.
Maybe not yet.
Not that I know.
You never know. You're just a child.
I don't want to know.
You don't know what's betrayal. Because it also happens. I have a client like she's engaged, and she always have this fear of like my fiance will cheat on me. My fiance would cheat on me, and then when we work on the betrayal wound. When she was 3 years old, her dad cheated on her mom. But it's just only a one-time thing. And then she saw her mom crying. I was like, why is it your mom crying? All I can hear is just, I'm sorry, it's just only a one-time thing. And I was like, what's mean one-time thing? So it means that the dad cheated one time, but then it anchored her on that betrayal. And I was like, what was the belief of the 3-year-old? And she said, like, I don't want to cry like my mom. And that's why it anchored the fear of betrayal. And she keeps on attracting people who betrays her or cheated on her. So, and that's why if you have the fear of betrayal, and if people keeps on cheating on you or betraying you, and it also happens in business as well. Like, you know, when you have a business and all of a sudden the guy just run away with your money. Or when you have a friend, you thought that your friend is really nice to you. Your friend is really nice to you, and then your friend just talk behind your back. And your friend just talk behind your back as well, because they have the fear of betrayal. And you never know what happens. You never know what happens to you, because she doesn't even remember that she was 3 years old and that happens. And after we had a session, she asked her mom, and that's where the confirmation coming from. Because the subconscious mind records everything and remembers everything. So if you have that kind of feeling of fears, it means that the physical emotions and feelings in your body, it's real. So there's something going on there. So you might dig, that's what they said, you might dig a little bit deeper on where it's coming from. If you felt it, then it's true. If you felt it, you have that emotions in your body, because you're not going to have it in one time. You're not going to have it in one time. It's always going to happen, and attracting and attracting and attracting until you go deeper and heal that kind of wound. So yeah.
Would it be possible, for example, in this example, that maybe just her mother was scared to get cheated on, maybe when she was pregnant or something, and just had the fear in her system, and that can be like, that never something happened, but maybe just it was a fear of her mom because of any reason, and maybe she just
passed it
to her?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe the mother's fear is also coming from the parents.
Possible.
Yes.
You never know, because
You
if you
never
look
know.
back in so much generations,
Yes.
everything is possible.
Yes, it's like a 7 generational trauma. So imagine you are the 7 generational trauma of DNA of being betrayed. And also, if your mom has that fear, there's a possibility that your dad done something, because we always attract a partner who will mirrors our fears, who done our fears in order for us to heal that. So possibility, yes, your dad. Something like, not even like the cheating, but also like the flirting that makes your mom feels betrayed all the time. And also the betrayal as well is like your dad promises you to, yeah, let's go for a party, or no, not the party, let's go for a vacation, and then you trusted your dad so much and you're so excited, and the next day your dad just canceled and you feel betrayed.
Okay,
So yeah.
interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we also betray ourselves of like, I'm gonna go to the gym, but that I didn't. It's either you abandon yourself or it's either you betray yourself. Like, I don't want to eat this ice cream, it's bad for me, but then you betray yourself and you just have the ice cream. That's the subtle ways of betraying yourself. We always betray ourselves. I mean, yeah. Like not keeping the promise. You promise yourself to not gonna do that, but you keep on doing that as well. And that's why we attract, we do it for ourselves, and we do it for other people as well. So yeah. So betrayal refers to the act of violating the trust. So yeah, it's involved with the trust, when you trust someone and they just break your trust, or when you cannot even trust yourself. Do you even trust yourself? She just laughed like, oh, gotcha. Yeah. Like, there's also betrayal because you couldn't trust yourself. And dishonesty, infidelity, or breaking a commitment. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to that workshop, and then all of a sudden you didn't go, and you betray yourself as well. You promised yourself to show up, but you didn't. It's either ways of abandonment, depends, which is for me, it's abandonment, or for you, it's betraying yourself for not showing up. You know that it's good for you, but you didn't do it. It's also. And also, people who fear betrayal hate not being trusted. When someone says like, oh, I don't trust you, but why you don't trust me, blah, 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 and everything. But you're actually the one who doesn't trust the person first. And then when someone doesn't trust you, you get triggered. But you are the one who doesn't trust. And also for these people, the subtle signs is you cannot delegate. When you have a business, you don't trust your people to do their job. Boom. Yes, you don't trust people to do their job, and that's why you prefer to do it alone. You prefer to do it yourself. You prefer to like... I love her, just, yeah, and she's just laughing there like, okay, I got you. Yes. And that's why when you delegate, you just delegate the small tasks, because you don't trust people to do the work for you. And it's just only a subtle signs of you having a fear of betrayal. All right. So yeah, find it hard to trust others. Confide in anyone because they fear what they reveal will be used against them. And it's also hard for you to be vulnerable because, like, maybe if I say something to this person, they will use it against me. And hate, and also fear of commitment. And the reason why you're scared to be committed as well, because, like, yeah, what if someone cheated on me? I'm putting my vulnerability, I'm putting my trust on you, and all of a sudden you use it against me. Keep attracting love affairs where partners aren't free to commit. And also sometimes we attract people who are married, who are in a relationship, and you're the one who is the third party. That happens as well if you have fear of betrayal. And you're like, why is it the guys I'm dating with, they're married or they're in a relationship, and why they want to date me even if they're in a relationship? Because you have that fear. You have that kind of specific energy that you're so scared to be betrayed, you're so scared to be cheated on, and that's why it's happening to you. So it's all about the feelings and emotions and energy as well. Because, you cannot know this person's going to cheat on me. No, until it's too late. until it's too late, until it happens, because it starts from you. It starts from your feelings and your energy of you have the fear of being cheated, and it's gonna happen. So yes. Struggle with committing to things they will say they will do, but not true. So micromanaging, or this one, micromanaging or controlling. Like even if you work with people, with the business people, and they just micromanage it because they don't trust people to do their work and their job. Okay, so we punish ourselves with doing everything ourselves because we don't trust others and we don't delegate. Or thank you, we spend all our time and energy checking on what others doing. And this is the reason why also, like, if you are in a relationship, you don't trust your partner, you keep on checking their Instagram, you keep on checking their socials. Why you're following this girl? Why you're following this guy? Who's this? Who's that? You started to get paranoid of like, who's this? Why are you talking to her? Why are you that is where the insecurity coming from? Because you just have that fear wound. And of course, it boils down to like one of your parents maybe cheated and that something happens because you absorb it when you're 0 to 7. It's on your subconscious. It's not going to happen. If it happens one time, it's okay. There's no patterns. But if it happens more than 2 times or 3 times and you think that there is a pattern, then yes, you need to go deeper than that. Because what's your belief right now, what's your fear right now, what's your emotions right now, you got it from 0 to 10 or 0 to 7. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, just a question on that. So you mentioned that trauma and this kind of emotional wounds can be passed down from like 7 generations.
Yes.
So let's just stick to the same example that we have been talking about, betrayal and cheating, right? So let's say if somebody has that kind of fear, it doesn't necessarily mean that, let's say, that the person has seen that happening in their family between their mom or dad.
Yeah.
But it also means it could have happened, generations before that was just passed down. So that's correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just wanted to clarify that because, I don't want to question my parents, at all. Because there is nothing happened, but of course there are like some small signs of fear of betrayal, and I don't know, like they have actually given me the best examples how parents could be and how a couple could be. So just wanted to clarify that this actually this fear can also come from personal experiences, and this fear can also come from previous generations, not necessarily from my parents' generation.
Sometimes also it doesn't happen in a relationship. Let's just say your dad is a businessman. And like you can also check the patterns of the business of your dad as well. Or like the friends of your dad or the friends of your mother. Like the wound of your mother and your dad. Let's just say your dad is a businessman and then most of the business partner betrayed him and took away the money. Even if the relationship of your mom and dad is good, but then the surroundings or the environment that's happening to your dad and your mom, there is a betrayal. Or like the best friend suddenly talk behind the back of your mother. So it doesn't reflect only, but also like the fear of the fear of the mother or the father.
Do these things have to happen to my parents? Or can it be, for example, that there's like a group of families that hang out all the time and you feel very close to those families and you see that this kind of stuff happened in one of those families, right?
Yes.
Not in my family, but in one of the families that, let's say, I looked at them as a great, father and mother and, husband and wife, and suddenly some shit went down and one of them cheated on the other one. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with my family.
Yeah.
But I saw that.
Yes, that also happens because when you are a child, as like you absorb your environment as well. So maybe your mom has a best friend or a sister or like a family that they talk about it. And sometimes when you're a child, they just openly talk about it and you just hear it and then you can feel it, or maybe you saw your mom's best friend crying, or maybe you saw the mom of your sister, or you just hear a story, or maybe you got it from the movie as well. And that's why, like, if you have that kind of fear and feelings and emotions, and we always wanted to have the reason why it's coming from, Maybe you just got it from the movie. Maybe your mother just loves to watch, especially Filipinos and Asian. We love to watch K-drama. And TV is one of the most mass hypnosis. And that's why most of the TV and news report, they use red colors because it's seduction. And that's how the government control us as well, through TVs. And maybe your mom just wanted to watch this favorite movie or like telenovela or K-drama or like a movie that's her favorite, and you're watching it as well, and you're a child, just like 4-year-old, and you're just like, what's going on? Why are they crying? So you can have that belief as well.
So, for example, like all the crazy Argentinian soap opera I watch with my grandmother can actually impact me?
Yes, a lot.
Found it.
Yes. Yes.
So, do you would say if we find out why we have some wounds, is it always possible to heal it? Because I did a lot of things to work on myself or my traumas, and my best friend asked me once, why are you doing all this? And then I was like, yeah, because I want to get healing and feel better and get rid of some emotions. And then she was like, do you think everything what you pull out from the deepest, from the past, it can also like make you feel worse in the end? She was like, maybe there are some things that don't want to be seen, and I don't know, I would not go this way like you. And then it was hard for me to explain her, because she said, if you know it, why you are jealous all the time, or you are this, can you get rid of it? Or it just stays with you and you just know why it is like that?
It depends if you're ready to let go of it. Like how much is suffering. Because you can, as I've said, all healing modalities works, but it's just how ready you are to let go of it, in a way. And also sometimes in hypnotherapy, when they show you where is it coming from, and you can have a different perspective of it, that's why sometimes it's easy for you to let go, because you already have the reason. Like you are aware of all the patterns that you're so scared to be betrayed, but then where is it coming from? So when you look back, actually I have also a video after this, when you look back and where is it coming from, and you can have the reason, and finally the subconscious will say, because every traumatic event, your subconscious will just bury it in order for you not to relive that pain again. But your body keeps score. Your body remembers it. And so once you have that reasoning already, you will have like, okay, this is where it started. It's time for me to let it go.
And even maybe we can realize that the situation wasn't that bad as...
Yes.
Yeah, we just
We're
get
just-
it wrong as a kid maybe, and
And you just keep it in looping. It's not, imagine like 60,000 thoughts, or 95% of your brain is looping that kind of emotions or betrayal and feeling, and keeping it in your body. And once you got that answer from whatever healing modalities that you choose to, when it shows you the reason, and then yes, you can let go of it. And that's why I've been to a lot of healing modalities as well. And then for me, I'm not biased with hypnotherapy. It's just that when you see it, when you feel it, and when you have the reasons, it's just like, actually, it's not that bad as I'm thinking. This is it, actually. Yeah. And then there is the reprogramming happening, because sometimes we do healing modalities, it's only for us to release emotions. But there's no reprogramming happening. There's no disconnection of that feelings into that specific memory. We need to disconnect so it's not gonna ever come back.
So this is what I experienced, because I did a lot of breath work over years, and I had like friends, they did it with me, and I saw so much healing in them. And I'm really into breath work. I really love it, and I always have the feeling after that I feel like emotionally lighter.
Yeah.
But I could never say I released this trauma or this trauma. So it started also getting like a little disappointment, because I was like, I'm taking so much time for that, and I do so much, but I don't have the feeling like I'm healed. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but yeah, maybe it's just like I'm releasing emotions
Yes.
while the breath work, but I can't tell, okay, I healed this and this or this and that.
Yeah, because sometimes you will imagine your trauma. It's just like this is the water, and the trauma is the dripping water, and this is your emotions. You just actually pour it out, but then you didn't turn off the faucet. It's still dripping in there, and that's why sometimes you overflow. So when you go on a deeper healing, you turn off that where it's coming from. That's why it's gonna be empty now.
So you think if I keep on doing like healing methods, there will come a point when it's ready to let go, it will show up? Or sometimes I'm thinking maybe it's nothing there, I want to release or something. Sometimes I think I do things wrong, or maybe it's also not the right method for
Yeah.
me. So
And that's why when you do healing modalities, breath work, meditation, whatever it is, set an intention. Are you ready to let go? It's like, okay, now whatever comes up to me, because the thing is, the subconscious will always show you a little piece of everything, and it doesn't make sense at all because we got it when we were a child. Like when you're doing the healing or the inner work, put yourself as like, I am a 7-year-old. Whatever that comes in front of me, it's not gonna make sense for me, because your reasoning mind, your conscious mind will tell like, no, that's not true. But then if you believe that 7-year-old that I had this trauma, and you had the trauma and you forgive that 7-year-old, and that's where you can detach. That's why healing is not that easy, because we have the conscious mind like, no, it didn't happen. But your trauma says like, yeah, but it happens to me. Like as simple as, look at her, as simple as she just stole $2. She just stole $2, and for her it takes a lot of toll now that she's adult. She's still scared with money. And it just started from what? I just stole $2, and I got yelled at, I got screamed at, I got beaten up, and it anchored there. So subconsciously for us, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, really? Like, that's where trauma coming from? Like, really? Seriously? But yeah, when she was there, if there's an audio, she was like crying her balls out. If there's that audio, I'm gonna send it to you after presentation, so you can hear the audio as well, that the client was so deep in there. So yeah, with you, when you done like a breath work, put an intention.
okay.
Always put an intention. Do not, some people like, you can show up and whatever showed up, you trust it. That's the right healing for you. Because your subconscious mind, our higher conscious, is very good in healing us. We can heal our body, we can heal everything. And that's what it shows you, even if it doesn't make sense to you. That's why like when I'm on my client, it's like, oh, I'm in, or okay, let's just say for example, client have a weight loss. And then she was like, I've tried everything, 10 years, 15 years of diet, and she's still not losing weight. She's gonna lose weight for 3 months, 6 months, she's still fat again. And then all of a sudden she's like, okay, I just want to try hypnotherapy. Where is it coming from? So when we go back, she was 3-year-old. She saw her dad beating her mom, and she was holding her mom's hand. Like for me, it just doesn't make sense. What's the connection of the weight loss? And I asked her, what was the belief of the 3-year-old? And she was like, I want to be big in order for me to protect my mom. I wanted to be big in order for me to protect my loved ones. So since she's 3-year-old, she's trying to be fat in order for her to protect her loved ones. But see, doesn't make sense. But with a 3-year-old, it makes sense. It's as simple as that. See?
Wow. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So you say that most of these wounds appear between the age of 0 and 7.
Yeah, 0 to 7 or 0 to 10.
Can it happen at a later age? For example, in somebody's teen years, 20s, 30s, if they experience a traumatic event, can they develop the same?
They can
wounds?
also develop the same, but because the conscious mind, the reasoning mind started to develop between 7 to it slowly have the reasoning mind. So it might not that get so affected. Because like you can like, oh, it happens, and then the conscious mind is like, yeah, but it happens, but it's okay, there's a reason already. But between 0 to 7 or 0 to 10, you're still developing your conscious mind or reasoning mind. Yes, that's where normally the biggest core wounds happens.
And if something develops in that early age and then you experience similar events later in life, can it make it worse?
It can make it worse. And that's the reason why, like, when you are triggered, you just burst of anger out of nowhere. Or you get down in a depression out of nowhere. Okay, for this one, for example, I have a client who is a Grammy Award, and he was so happy and everything. He was so happy 1 month of like love and light, and because it's that. So he messaged us like, and after 1 month, he fall into the very darkness or like depression. And I asked him like, and we worked together, and I was like, where is the depression coming from? We have everything. And so when we go back, he messaged his dad. He's like, hey dad, I got a Grammy Award. And the dad said like, yeah, it's just the bullshit it's just the bullshit LA trophy that no one cares. And that's where the depression started. And then we go deeper. When he was 7 years old, he's playing a guitar. And then the dad said like, how can you be a musician? You couldn't even hit the note. And that's where the drive of like, I'm going to show you, dad. I'm going to show you, dad, that I'm going to be the best musician. And then once he was the best musician, the dad rejected him. Boom. Fell into the depression. So yeah. And amazing. Kind of the subconscious.
Thank you.
That's just all the stories.
I think we all really enjoyed the conversation. Just a quick time check.
Yeah.
How much is left from the presentation?
Wait. Oh yeah. I guess it's just only 20 minutes and it'll be done.
Okay.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just carry on.
Where am I now? I'm lost.
And of course, if somebody needs to go, that's totally fine.
Yeah. This is recorded as well, so you can just you can replay it. So let's say we are in a betrayal. So this is an example also for a client who have a betrayal issues. So we can watch this. My face. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's it. So yes, like look at it. The child, she was reading her messages, the messages of the phone from her mother's phone, and she had this betrayal. So every time she in relationships, she's just so scared to be betrayed because her mom was cheating on her dad, and she didn't even tell her. She didn't even tell her dad, which is a very big responsibility, or she didn't even tell her mom, because if she speak up, like she have the responsibility of like, I need to hold my family together. That's why I'm not gonna tell my dad that my mom is cheating. I'm not gonna tell my mother that she's cheating because I don't want her to have that confrontation. So that's why she have this kind of wound, of betrayal wound. So next one is humiliation. This one also is repeatedly attracting toxic people into your life, like your boss, someone is insulting you, or you attract a relationship that is, that's making fun of you or insulting you, or just, and there's disrespect. That's it. So, and that's why like when you are in a relationship, also you attract partners who disrespect you all the time. Even if you are respectful, but then you attract those kind of people. But not just only for relationship, but also for work. We attract bosses that are toxic, who can easily say us like bad words, or a friend who can make fun of us. And okay, let's just like, we all have set of friends, and we all have that one friend that we make fun of. We have that, right? Yes, it's either you are the one who make fun of, or there is a one friend who we always make fun of because they have that kind of energy to be humiliated. That's also the one way. If you are the person that, a person of like, yeah, my friends always make fun of me, or like a boss always like, All right, so it's feel ashamed, embarrassed, or degraded in front of others, making someone feel small or inferior as well. So it involves exploiting, and this is why also you keep on attracting toxic relationship who violently abuse you physically, emotionally, and mentally as well. Because maybe your dad always insulted your mom, or your mom insulted your dad, or none of those partner, none of your parents actually respect each other. They don't respect each other. And that's why you also attract a person who doesn't respect you as well. Yeah. Okay. And also, the thing about this is sometimes we end up being a masochists. We actually like it when someone hurt us. She was like, what? So yes, we unconsciously attract this kind of people because we like the feeling, because it's familiar for us. It's familiar for it's normal in the household that your dad is insulting your mom or your mother is insulting your dad. There's no respect happening on it. And that's why also you attract that kind of partner, or also you attract a partner who you can easily disrespect, who you can easily anger and insult as well. So yeah, and also like signs of self-humiliation is like, oh my God, I'm so messy. Like, oh my God, I always you always degrade yourself. You make yourself feel small and ashamed and everything. And oh my God, I'm so messy. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Those simple words, you are humiliating yourself. So yeah. And compare oneself to negatively to others, or belittle and criticize for being fat, no good, lacking power, or being stupid. And yes. That's why your subconscious is driving your romantic relationship. So this one attracts a man who embarrasses her in public when he's drunk too much, or a partner who continuously flirts with other women in front of her. And there's a lot of people who actually attracts this kind of people as well. Like the guy doesn't respect you, or the woman doesn't respect you. And just, the woman just slap you in front of public, or they just don't respect you at all. So yeah, we have the video of here of where where did she get it, like for the humiliation. So yeah. Okay, all right, so yeah, for this one, it's the mother who attracts the dad, always say that you're stupid and everything, and the mom just accepted it. And it happens to her as well, growing up, that she keeps on attracting toxic relationship, or a guy who keeps on telling her that you're so stupid, or you're so messy, you're fat, or just humiliating her. Because it's coming from the mom, or it's coming from the dad. And that's why we attract those kind of relationships. Subconsciously, we find it normal because that's what's normal for us. And yes, so sometimes do you ever feel guilty of enjoying life when your family or friends are not? We couldn't sometimes, no, it's injustice already. So yeah, so moving on, we will go to the last emotional wound, which is injustice or unfair. Injustice always happens when you are not, when you have a siblings, because our parents always have a favorite child. And we always feel it's unfair. Like, oh yeah, but my brother has, we always compare ourselves to our sister. And sometimes it's either we feel rejected, or it's either we injustice or unfair. Especially like when you are the eldest, and then there's like a younger child playing your toy, and you just want to play your toy. And then your mother will say like, yeah, but it's okay. You just give it to your younger brother. And you feel that, no, mom, it's unfair. This is my toy. So that's a very subtle also things of like why you keep on attracting partners also that you give everything and the partner doesn't reciprocate. And then when someone, and also if you attract a partner who's going to give you everything, you cannot even accept it because you feel like, no, I don't deserve this. It's not because you don't deserve it, just because it's not familiar for you. It's not familiar for you that life is fair. and you're just scared of like, yeah, you just cannot accept that. So situation that is unfair, unjust, or morally wrong, and according to the principles of equality and justice. So for this one, this is the very subtle. We actually talk about it with Adam, with the injustice. Sometimes here in Bali, we have like group dinners. And sometimes it's easier for us to divide it. Let's just say we have a group dinner of 8 people, and we divide it by 8. And there's always one person who's going to say like, no, but I didn't eat this, I didn't drink that, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And that person feels it's unfair. For you who doesn't have an unfair wound, who just like, it's okay, I have fun anyway. I have fun with the people around me. But with a person who have wound of injustice or unfair, it's very intense for her. Like, no, I don't want to pay this. I'm only gonna pay of what I eat. So that's also a sign, and it's just so interesting to see people that way. And that's why sometimes in your relationship, you always do like 50-50. Not because you wanted to, but because you don't want to have that feeling of an affair sometimes. And you cannot let the guy do things for you, or you cannot even also accept gifts because you find it unfair when you accept gifts. And then when you accept gifts, also signs of injustice is like you cannot buy the things that you wanted unless you work hard for it, because it's unfair for you to enjoy it. In that sense, like you don't deserve to be rewarded. And sometimes also when parents like, okay, you need to be a good girl, you need to be a good child in order for you to receive this award. Oh yeah. Right, so we blame others for everything we do. That's why we attract people who reflect what we are doing. And yeah, like the wound of like receiving, if it's hard for you to receive, that's also like you feel it's unfair. And yeah, that's it. Injustice. So that's the last emotional wounds. And the advantage of discovering our wounds is that we're finally looking at the right place. So just for example, why I don't feel enough when I'm in a relationship, because I'm so scared to be abandoned. Why I'm not confident, because I'm so scared to be rejected. Or why is it I couldn't trust people, because I'm scared to be betrayed. So these are the 5 common core emotional wounds of like, what's your limiting belief? Like, I'm not confident, I don't have self-esteem, I cannot trust someone. Or what else are the limiting beliefs? I don't deserve money, I don't deserve love, I don't deserve all of these limiting beliefs. But if you're going to ask yourself like, why I feel not enough? And then you ask like, oh, maybe because I'm scared to be abandoned, or maybe because I'm scared to be rejected, or maybe because I'm scared to be cheated on. Maybe it's because like life is unfair, or I'm scared to be humiliated. So you can ask yourself if ever you got triggered when someone says something to you, or when there is an event that's especially triggered with anger. That's where you can check off like, why am I angry? Where is the wound coming from? And you can look back for these 5 emotional wounds, and from there, that's where you can start your healing journey. Just like you, like, okay, that's where you can start your healing journey, and you know how to let go of it. Okay, so remember, each wound exists to remind us that if others makes us suffer, because we always attract people who makes us suffer in order for us to heal that wound. And I don't believe in the wrong person. I always believe that we always meet the right person at the right moment at the right time. The person will only be wrong if we didn't learn our lesson. Imagine, because of that person, like I was able to look deeper into myself, and I'm not going to do it again, or I'm not going to feel that again. So you always attract the right person to heal you, to make you a better person. It's only wrong if you don't learn your lesson, then okay, continue doing the patterns, continue suffering. That's it. And if the people are suffering, let them. So imagine if we heal those wounds, we're no longer scared to be rejected, we're no longer scared to be abandoned, we're not going to have an anxious, avoidant relationship, and we can let go of the control. We can trust people now to work with us, we can trust our partner and everything, and we can have a loving relationship. And we can also stop people pleasing because we are scared to be rejected, and also we know how to set boundaries because we're no longer scared to be rejected. We can set boundaries, and we cannot attract people who's going to disrespect us. So we can easily transform our lives because we're no longer in fear. It's the fear, it's the anger, the emotions, the feeling you feel in your body that gives that kind of energy. Because I couldn't tell if you're toxic. I couldn't tell if you're scared with the betrayal. I couldn't tell that unless it's too late. No, it means unless because I have that energy. I'm carrying that energy of fear. That's why I'm attracting that kind of people. And it's going to happen. So if you have those fears, it's time for you to maybe heal from it and get tired of suffering. Because of course, we all deserve to be happy, we all deserve to be free, and we all deserve to be loved. And the end. Thank you so much. Any questions? Yay.
If somebody has a few of these wounds, can all of them be caused by the same event?
Yes. Sometimes in one event, you feel betrayed, abandoned, and rejected at the same time. I have a lot of clients, we always go to the same memory because he or she felt the same thing at the same memory or trauma.
So if you want to heal all of them and they're all caused by the same event, you can heal all of them at once.
It depends on the trigger words because normally when I work with clients, and that's why I barely work with one-on-one session, I always do the package because like for this one on this week we will work on your abandonment issues, and then that's where my words coming from, like abandonment, and I choose that. So it will only be triggered when I use the right words. So that's why when you're doing meditation, use your words wisely, or when you're listening to your music, you use your words wisely because that's the triggers. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, welcome.
Anybody else?
Hey.
Okay, what if you have everything, like what you mentioned, from different traumas, but then you attract the right person and you don't have these toxic things, you've never attracted these toxic things around you, and you don't act toxically.
Yeah, maybe you might resonate with the wounds, but it's not as deep that it will control you. There's a lot of people that their emotions control them. And also, it also depends on the partner as well. If both of you are willing to work on it and talk it out. And if you attract a person, talk it out because both of you may be ready to talk it out and work it out. And if you're not ready to let go of that emotions or wounds, then you will also attract a person who's going to like trigger you. So yeah. And it's as I've said, also it's not about the relationship as well. Maybe it happens in your friendship. Maybe it happens in your work. Maybe it happens on your environment. Like sometimes all of a sudden, like you're just driving and someone just yelled at you. All of a sudden, and it keeps on happening and happening and happening. So it's also not about the relationship, but it's the environment around you.
So, for example, is it possible that we had the wounds in our past, but we already healed it, but we weren't aware of it that we healed it? So maybe a person or a situation maybe already healed a wound in us, because also for me, when I look back, I'm like, okay, my relationships were a little bit kind of not good, and also my parents didn't have a good relationship, but now I'm really happy in my relationship. Is it possible that over my last relationships I already healed the wounds?
Yeah, you've learned your lesson. That's it. You just learn your lesson. And also, healing wounds it's all about your body. It's all about your body's emotions and feelings and how your body is reacting. It's not just everything is just mental. It's your body of like, oh, I'm so anxious right now. Oh, I'm gonna do this. That's the feeling. Or I'm so angry right now. It's the anchor. Your body is your anchor of like healing as well. Because even if you've done a lot of inner mental work, but then your body doesn't connect to it, then yes, you still might gonna be triggered.
So yeah, I can say also, of course, some things also I see myself in, but really not often. But of course, for example, when you said, if he goes and you want to go with him. From my point of view, he can do everything alone.
Yeah.
He can go alone on holidays. He can do what he wants. So it's not like I'm jealous or something, but sometimes I have the feeling I don't want to go away from him. I'm like, oh, actually I'm tired, but I'm going to join you when you go to the city, or I go there. It's not like I'm jealous, but it's like I don't want to go without him.
Yeah.
And maybe this is also because my father left me when I was younger. So
it depends on emotions. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel how do you feel when your partner leaves you? Do you have that anxious feeling of like, I want to be with him, I want to be with him, I want to be with him? Because there's a lot of people have a really intense emotional wounds. And also like, for this one, the 5 emotional wounds test is, I put you to the hypnosis, but to connect to your body, to connect for you the intensity of how do you, let's just say, how does it make you feel when you feel abandoned? Where do you feel it in your body? And then you will rate it from 1 to 10. And if it's above 5, then yes, you need to heal that wound, because it's more than 50%. So it means that it's controlling your life.
okay.
Yes.
And if, for example, I would like to do a session with you,
Yeah.
is it like a package that we meet more often, or is it like also you can find out things if we have one session together, so you could say, okay, I can see, oh, you should heal this wound or that wound?
I do the 5 emotional wounds test, and from there, that's where I can tell of like what kind of package I'm going to give you. Because there are some people like, some people doesn't have betrayal wound. Me, I don't have betrayal wound, but I have abandonment and rejection wound. And also it's like, what's the intensity of it? Because most of the people wanting to have a magic, like one session it's going to be gone, which is no. That's why it's called patterns, because it keeps on repeating and repeating again. And that's why through the body connection, and you're going to rate it, you feel it like, okay, my rate for like abandonment is like 10. And then after a few sessions, we're going to do the test again. And then that's where you can tell like I got results, because it's not as bad as the first time that we had a session.
Okay.
And because people just like one-time session, oh, I'm already love and light. No.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Depends on your wounds.
We also have a question on Zoom. What do you think the major wound is and the reason for procrastination?
Procrastination, it depends. Maybe rejection or abandonment. It
Can
depends
you give
on you.
maybe a few examples how
For
happens?
example, for procrastination, you know that the project is good for you. You know that you wanted to build that kind of business, but you're actually abandoning and you don't want to do it. Or it's either you don't want to do it because you want to abandon the relationship, or because you don't want to do it because you feel like it's not enough. Like you don't feel enough or worthy to do the project, and you reject yourself. So it depends on you of which wound resonates with you. It's either you abandon the project or you just reject yourself because you don't feel enough.
But let us maybe take this as an example. So you have this project, and you have this deep emotion which drives you to actually stop the project. Maybe you have this kind of also reaction from the body, how you can overcome this in this moment.
They overcome the moment when you feel it in your body.
Yes, the body strikes, your mind strikes, and you're really not motivated, and you really feel I should change the project or whatever. I mean, how can you go through it? Because sometimes I have this, and it's kind of a wall, which blends me out for weeks. It's like a slap in the face, and I'm then really thinking, no, I need to change this, and it's because it's so tough sometimes. So I'm struggling with this to go through, how to go through it.
That's a good question. So once you have that emotions and because sometimes the reason why it keeps on coming back because you don't want to feel it. But once you allow to feel it, you sit down with it and you listen to it. Yes, that's where you can get the answers. And you will like have the intention of like, why am I scared? Why I cannot do this? And there's always another voice that's going to answer you, because most of the time when we feel uncomfortable, we distract it. When we feel uncomfortable, you don't want to feel it. And that's why they said like, feel it to go through it. So yeah.
Do you think there is a difference between intuition and emotions?
That's where, because normally intuition doesn't give you that very bad feeling, but emotions already have that kind of like, Emotions will give you like a dense tension feeling on your body.
Can you describe this in different words?
That's really interesting. How can I say it? Like,
Because sometimes to give you one example, I believe in some things I would say, and I learned that sometimes my intuition can lead me to wonderful things, but at the same time, I'm struggling because this leads me also at the same time to crazy things. So, and for me, I have deep emotions, which is like anchored on my childhood or whatever, and then some emotions or intuitions, I would say, it comes from a positive place where it can lead me to wonderful things. But it's for me really hard sometimes to differentiate where it comes from, and then I'm just following. A lot of times I'm just following these emotions, and it's like a 50-50 joker.
That's why you always listen to your body. And it takes a lot of practice and mistakes before you can heighten up your intuition. It's like, okay, I'm going to listen to this now. How does it feel? And then after that, I'm going to listen to this. How does it feel? And then that's where you can compare what's intuition and what's emotions. Because you'll only know you only learn your lesson unless you get a mistake. You can only know what's intuition and what's emotions if you can differentiate them. So once you have that gut feeling, feel it in every sensation into your body. And then next time, once you have the emotions feeling, feel it in every sensation into your body so you can compare it. And you don't deny both of them. Because everything is a practice. People everything is a practice. Learn from it. Learn from the mistakes. Because there's no such thing as like, every lesson that comes to you, it makes you a better person. So it means that it makes you a better intuitioner. Or emotioner. You're welcome. Good?
Yes, we have another question from the audience. So, in short, the person has met someone and they started, or they didn't start a long distance relationship, but I think they kind of figured out that things are not working because of the distance. And this person is kind of like struggling to detach from that particular individual. So what is a healthy way of detaching from someone once you figured out that things are not working?
To be honest, the 30 days no contact is the best. Because the reason why you keep on, it's hard for you to let go or it's hard for you to attach because you have a chemical bond of oxytocin. Love is chemicals. And once you feel that kind of emotions, that's why you need to rehabilitate yourself. And there's no shortcut of moving on. And the healthy way is to stop contacting because every time you talk to the person, you have like, ooh, you have that kind of, ooh, the person replied. Or when you send that kind of message, you are expecting and you're looping it in your head and memory. So you need to also purge that kind of chemicals. It's not going to be easy because you're purging that kind of chemicals. So the best way is to no contact for minimum of 30 days.
How many?
Minimum of 30 days. Minimum.
What happens after 30 days?
Normally, you don't have those kind of chemicals anymore because no one is triggering that specific emotions of oxytocin or dopamine or whatever you get from the love, whatever you get from that loop in your head as well. So yeah, you're not feeding it.
I've been in that place where I did the 30 days, kind of, we don't talk, we take a break, we don't see each other for 30 days. With the agreement of let's see how we feel at the end of 30 days. Does this make sense? Do our values match? And what I noticed for both of us is you start thinking more rationally and more logically at the end or closer to the end because I guess the hormones and
no more chemicals.
Yeah, the chemicals are not there anymore. And we were better equipped to sit down at the end of that month. Well, actually for us it was 2 months. And just have an honest conversation of, all right, where are we? Are we on the same page or are we not? Without having those emotions involved.
So yes.
It helps. It works.
It helps. Yes, it works because sometimes we are just carried away with our emotions and that's why we couldn't talk well. And it's our subconscious like triggering that firing up of that emotions and wound and everything. So 30 days is the best. It's the best healthy way to detach to any person.
And I think like So for this particular scenario, because I've gone through that experience, I would actually also recommend just having that conversation before of let's not talk, let's not see each other, and let's not kind of no contact for 30 to 60 days, and then have a specific date in mind where you meet and you talk with that purpose. Like not how you've been, not what you've been doing for the last month or two, how's life, how do you feel, but specifically how are we with regard to each other. So like have that intention, because I think that's what helped us, is setting that intention before we took the break to what happens when we meet, when we come back.
Yes, exactly. It's more clarity.
Yeah, cool. I think there's no more questions. I'm just gonna walk over here. I think it's just easier. Well, always very enlightening. And the more I speak to you, the more I realize how fucked up I am. But I think we all get some work to do. But the first step is just to be aware of the things that we need to work on. So I think seeking out those kind of experiences that helps you grow and helps you to face those wounds that you may need to work on is very important. I think you guys being here is already a testament that you are already working on yourself, that you are paying attention to this, you are curious about that, how you can get better and how you can break the cycle. Because I believe that everybody who is paying attention to this topic is a cycle breaker. So this is totally up to you, whether you are going to pass on past generation traumas or your traumas to your children, for example. So yeah, having said that, there was one thing that really stood out to me. If you carry the energy, you attract that. So let's face that energy, let's work on ourselves. And yeah, thank you so much. This was amazing, learned a lot. I'm very happy to do more of these talks as well.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Thank you. And always be kind to yourself. That's it.
Amen. Thanks for joining.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for joining. Bye.